Hi everybody, I'm Jamie from Talk GT. Welcome to this week's edition of In the Showroom. Today I'm going to be showing you around Honda's small but mighty S660. Okay, so the S660 is going to be a new one on a lot of people outside of Japan. A JDM model only. It fits into Japan's Kei Car class. So this is a compact, micro, heavily restricted category of vehicle in Japan. Typically quite boring, one-box designed sort of budget cars. Honda came back to the market in 2015 with this S660 model. So this follows the lineage of the original Beat and is a really exciting compact sports car with a 660cc engine. So when the car came out in 2015, it was launched in 3 variants. These were the Alpha, the Beta, and the Concept Edition. Now this is a Concept Edition car, so they made this in a limited production run. Only 660 of these were made. This is actually number 633 of that 660. And now, during the early stages of the 660 project, Honda did something really interesting. They ran an internal sort of design competition within their engineers. So there were 400 internal applicants at Honda, and it was actually won by a junior engineer who was only 22 years old. So he ended up becoming chief engineer for the S660 project. And that worked really well with Honda's sort of philosophy of obviously modernity, excitement. You know, we've got this young 22-year-old engineer heading up the project, and he really helped push through some of the really nice little touches that we'll see as we go around the car. So what we have here with the S660 is we've got a mid-engined, 830 kilogram, absolutely tiny little platform. You know, even for a Kei car, the S660 is small. It's 1.2 meters, just shy of tall. You know, in the UK, we've got Toyota Aygo, which we think of as being a small car. This is considerably smaller than an Aygo. We've got some, you know, beautiful little touches to the design. Obviously, we can see, you know, NSX in here straight away. Mid-engined, baby supercar, you know, very, very cool. At launch, it was 2.4 million yen, so it was expensive for a Kei car. That allowed Honda and the design guys there to sort of really go to town on the features and kind of work with a higher budget to create a more interesting, better quality, and ultimately absolutely brilliant looking little car. So as we come around the side, obviously the first thing that strikes us is it's got massive wheels on it for a Kei car. They're lovely, you know, two-tone, large alloy wheels. We've got some, you know, beautiful body styling down the sort of flanks of the car. We've got these lovely, lovely wing mirrors here. So these are fixed mirrors. There's no need to fold mirrors on a car as small as this. So these are a fixed, beautifully designed mirror, especially from the inside. When you're viewing them, they just feel really, really special. We've got something very cool, which is obviously with our mid-mounted engine, we've got, you know, real purposeful induction scoops down on the side. So very, very sexy and sporty looking little induction scoops here in front of the rear wheel, actually there for purpose and to obviously channel air into the engine in the back. You know, very compact, beautiful dimensions. It's a simple, lightweight, Targa style roof. This being a concept edition, the roof material is actually red, so that's a sort of fast way of picking out the concepts over some of the others from the range. It's a great looking little car, uses a lot of the design language from across the modern Honda range, so we can see little hints of all sorts of other Hondas in this car. Coming round towards the back of the car, which actually is my favourite sort of viewpoint of the car. I think it just looks so fantastic at the back here. Again, with the daytime running lights on, you know, we can see the effort put into the rear light clusters. In detail, you know, there's all sorts going on there. The whole sort of back profile of the car is beautifully designed, very, very balanced. You know, we've got little sort of interesting touches all over the place. You know, tying in a lot of the modern Honda range, we've got these sort of, you know, fake vents and things at the back. So they're obviously not there for purpose, but they really, really help add interest to the car. We've got a center exit rear exhaust, which is very cool. And then, as I say, just lots of nice little touches, very, very pleasing to look at. So let's have a look at the interior. Okay, so in here, we've got some very definite S2000 sort of touches in here. So straight away, we've got, you know, what looks like to come fresh out of an S2000 gear knob here with lovely red stitching, little leather gaiter with complementary red stitching as well. It's your typical Honda manual gearbox, so 6-speed gearbox, very short throw, notchy, beautiful to use. I think this was the first Kei car to have a 6-speed manual. That might not be completely accurate, so if anybody knows, feel free to put a comment in the box. But I think it was the first 6-speed manual Kei car. Very, very driver focused. We've got super sporty, flat bottomed, very small, fat, leather wrapped steering wheel. You know, we've got brilliant technology in this. Sort of forgetting that it's a Kei car for a minute, it's got, you know, modern technology that we would expect from a lot of sort of newer cars. So we've got cruise control buttons on the steering wheel here. We've obviously got stereo and vehicle menuing system buttons. We've got full keyless entry, push button start, digital speedo, traditional Honda, you know, analog, large format rev counter. These rev out at 8,000 RPM, so you've got a lovely high red line on them. We've got a multi-information display front and center in the dash here, and this is really cool. It's got a G meter, a boost meter, and a throttle input meter sort of built into that multi-information display. So again, you know, that's really telling you that the S660 project was designed as a very driver, sporty, you know, focused car that, you know, is aimed at sort of pure driving pleasure and gives the driver, you know, lots of the sort of toys he would get in larger format cars. When we imported this car originally, we also bought for our client these red door card covers and these lovely red leather seat covers. In Japan, you know, the S660, like many of these sort of Kei cars, are massively customizable. There's a myriad of aftermarket parts where you can sort of put your own little personal touch on the car, a bit like our original Minis in Europe, you know, car for the people. Fantastic support from the aftermarket parts world, allowing you to sort of retrofit all sorts of bits and bobs in here. So, you know, a beautiful modern interior. Honda have always been brilliant at getting space out of cars, especially small cars. And now, you know, I'm 6'5". I'm a big guy, and shockingly enough, you know, I fit in this little S660 better than I fit in a lot of the larger Japanese sports cars. So, you know, as a large chap, I can comfortably get in here, safely drive it. I've got way more space than you would imagine I have, and you know, that in itself really is a triumph. So yeah, beautifully styled, high quality, well finished, interesting sort of interior layout in the S660 makes it a great little place to be. Okay, so let's talk about the engine and let's talk about some numbers. So they're only little numbers with Kei cars because obviously these are heavily restricted, sort of very, very small capacity cars. So we've got here a 660cc, 3-cylinder, 12-valve, tiny weeny turbocharged, little mid-mounted, tiny little engine. So, you know, with the Honda Earth Dreams branding here, you know, what this is all about is obviously high efficiency, low emissions. This is what, you know, the Japanese government want you driving on the roads in Japan. They want something kind to the world, you know, which for a car, this is about as close as it gets with a petrol car. So we've got 64 brake horsepower, hits us at 6,000 RPM. So this car will push on to, you know, maybe 85 mile an hour is what it sort of tops out at. You know, that doesn't sound like very much, neither does 64 brake horsepower, but I can tell you that 85 miles an hour in one of these feels like about 300 miles an hour. You know, it's a tiny little roller skate of a car. It weighs 830 kilograms. It's mid-mounted engine with a slightly rear bias weight split, so it's 55% of the weight at the rear, 45 at the front. It's a high revving, turbocharged, willing little kind of pocket rocket of a car. Absolutely sort of beautifully laid out and designed, and it's the sort of smile-inducing experience that we don't get a lot of with sort of modern cars. Remembering that this is a 2015 and still currently in production, so a new format car, to sort of provide us with this level of engagement and fun is quite unusual these days. So the S660, it doesn't have a lot of competitors. Obviously, in the 90s, we had the original Beat. We had things like the Autozams and the little Cappuccinos. In Europe, we got the Smart Roadster, which was about as close to this sort of thing as we've had in Europe. We've got a sort of Toyota and Daihatsu collaborated to create a Copen or a Copen, which is probably the nearest rival of the S660 and follows the same sort of idea, really. But this is Honda, showing us what can be done within the K-class rules, and really sort of, getting a fantastic little product out of it at the end of the day, sort of pushed along by its chief engineer, a young chap with a sort of eye on, what's able to be sort of done, with some exciting thinking. So there we have it, the Honda S660. What an interesting, quirky, gorgeously styled little car, with a lot of us starting to think about things like ULEZ compliancy, high economy, frugal on fuel, conscientious choices that we're making when we're buying our cars. The S660 almost stands alone as a small car that offers great value, great quality, and all of these sort of modern ideas of motoring that will increase moving forward. New to a lot of us outside of Japan, it's a model that we absolutely love at Talk GT. We're being asked for them more frequently, and we're bringing them across more regularly for people. There's several in the range to choose from. We've got the S660 concept, as this one is. We have the Alphas, which are the sort of top of the mainstream range, and the Betas, which are a simple sort of lower spec but equally enjoyable little car. And then we've got a couple of spin-offs, these being the Modulo X and the Mugen RA variant. But if you're looking for a small, economical, brilliant little city car for zipping around, nipping around the traffic, if you're commuting in and out of a big city regularly, I'd implore you to have a look at the Honda S660, because it's a car that really shoots a lot higher than on paper it would suggest. Great little car. We love them. So if you've got any comments or questions, feel free to put them in the box below. And thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.